for Hammond.
My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Health and Wellbeing. Can the Minister update the House about how the recent state budget will deliver better health care closer to home for elderly residents in the Adelaide Hills? And when you will leave, sir, and that of the House, I will explain.
Leave is sought. Is leave granted.
The recent state budget contained an extra $6 million of funding for aged care services in Strathalbyn in the Speaker's electorate.
Minister for Education.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to have this question from the member for Hammond, who I know takes a deep interest in health issues for people in country South Australia, in his electorate, and indeed in nearby areas to his electorate, regions such as the Adelaide Hills. Sir, I know that this question is of interest to you because it's similar to a discussion that you and I had in this building not more than a week ago, where we were talking about the benefits to people in Strathalbyn and throughout your electorate of some announcements in the state budget. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk about that in the chamber today. And indeed, thanks to the member for Hammond's question, and indeed I can advise the Speaker that subsequent to our discussion, I took the opportunity to avail myself of some information from the Health Minister late last week, and I'm happy to share some of that with you, some of that information the Health Minister was very, very happy to provide about your constituents. But of course, sir, you know, as do indeed all members of this House, that the Marshall Liberal government is building what matters when it comes to supporting the health and well-being of all South Australians. Now, that's absolutely a key concern for many South Australians in regional South Australia, is the opportunity to have care delivered closer to home. Since coming to government, we have already delivered $140 million worth of investment to address the backlog in country capital works left after the previous government's 16 years. In this year's budget, we have additionally committed more than $40 million in further individual projects across South Australia, improving the delivery of health services, and also, of course, one of the matters related to stimulus spending such as this is that it creates jobs close to home at a time when those jobs have never been more needed. More than $35 million of this $40 million investment in health is going to be spent in regional South Australia. And in the Adelaide Hills, as the member for Hammond rightly drew my and the House's attention to, a $6 million particular investment in the Adelaide Hills in the Strathalbyn community. So, sir, expanding the Strathalbyn Aged Care Lifestyle Facility, in which this government has already invested $11.4 million, we are adding a further $4 million, taking this project, which is so important to residents in your electorate in the town of Strathalbyn, sir, to a total value of $15.4 million, a significant commitment that that community has been looking for, I would suggest, many, many years. The additional funding will provide support services for this facility to provide exceptional aged care to members of the Strathalbyn community. A new kitchen and laundry to be used by both the aged care facility and the hospital will be built within the Undercroft. The new 36-bed residential facility expansion, set to include a 24-bed open ward and a 12-bed memory support unit, all with single bedrooms, will deliver quality aged care in a modern environment for elderly South Australians to support them to live and age well. The purpose-designed facility will also feature private en-suites for residents, communal open areas and dedicated outdoor spaces to provide a welcoming home for residents and their families. Sir, I know you'll also be very pleased to hear a further $2 million has been added to the redevelopment of the Kalimna Hostel, tripling our original commitment in the election of $1 million to provide additional aged accommodation for people in the area who need it. And this will also fulfil another election commitment, demonstrating the government's determination to deliver better services for the people of South Australia. Sir, I know that the people in your community will welcome this news, as will you, but it is, I promise you, sir, no more than they absolutely deserve.